All right, we got Oakley doing some work. So we're out doing a little walk. Wanted to kind of talk you through what we're doing with him. So first of all, the heel is super important. So I'll correct him if he goes past my leg. I want to make sure he's staying really attentive and focused on me. He's not forging ahead. I feel like when a lot of dogs walk ahead of owners, we're opening up ourselves to a lot of reactivity, where he's more likely to bark at people and dogs, just mainly out of a state of excitement for him. So sometimes it's almost a little neurotic, and so when I pop him back into this heel position, he's a lot more likely to be more mindful. We've got some dogs barking at us, so we're going to use those dogs to work on staying in this heel position and not barking back at them. So that can be really hard. It can feel a little bit unnerving for a lot of dogs when we are walking with them and they start to bark and heel. So what I'm seeing with him is he was a little bit tricky initially with e-collar levels. So he could be super sensitive in one setting and then not sensitive at all in other settings. And so we added a comfort pad, which dilutes the stimulation. So it actually makes dogs have a wider range. But what can it allow for is for a dog not to be super sensitive and worried about it. So sometimes he would feel the stim and get a little bit startled by it. And then what happens is we don't have good understanding because he's too worried about the stimulation. We're actually going to cross the street. We've got some construction right here. So, so we just dilute it. So he could work anywhere from like a 5 to a 20 on the comfort pad. And on the 20, it's not like he's freaking out about it. Sometimes it's just because he's playing with other dogs and can't always feel it, but it's almost like a little bumper. It just dilutes it, makes it a little bit softer, and so he's not super worried about it. So that's been really helpful for him. Passing all these construction workers, and he's doing really good. So if he does get a little bit disconnected, I can just heel and have him refocus. Now, when we started working this, what he would have a tendency to do is go between my legs. And so I'm using the leash to catch him before he does that heel. So I'm going to see right there, I'm going to pop him out. Sometimes that's a little bit of an insecurity. So he's like, there's a lot of things going on. I'm feeling insecure. So I go between your legs. We want to make sure he's not doing that. He's walking next to us. So we're not being codependent. We're following us, he's following us for leadership. It's okay that we have insecurities, but we don't want him to be hiding, from those loud machines going on over there. So as people are coming home from work, we typically get out and we walk. There's a lot more commotion, a lot more people out, a lot more cars, and sometimes that can... he's worried about those machines back there. Sometimes it can make dogs a little bit worried, but it's important that we work through those things. So what I don't want is to avoid them. I want to make sure we're working through it and have a game plan when he is feeling insecure. So he's rocking the heel position. He's gotten a lot better. I'm barely using leash here. Sometimes when I step back and I need to recenter him right here in this position, he does great. So we work a lot on that. Another thing we work on is a lot of calmness when putting on equipment. So what I have found with him is when I get on his level, he gets real excited and starts to get, he's like, I love you, starts to get mouthy and nippy out of a state of excitement. And what I want to do is just have a lot of calmness when I'm next to him. So if he starts to get mouthy, I can use my leash and correct him. The first couple of days we put the leash on and he's just biting the leash out of just excitement. And so no, even if he's licking the leash, I'll correct it, because licks turn to nibbles and nibbles turn to mouthiness and mouthiness turns to biting the leash. So we want to make sure that just we're being really consistent with that kind of stuff. I correct it if he's being rude and bossy. Come on, Oakley. So that's going to be important. Just sets the tone for when we put equipment on him. He's listening and responding well. Let me cinch up my leash here. So really good. Another thing we've worked on is the down. So down without food was hard for him. Other things are easy for him without food. Place, heel, come. But without the help with food on the down, he struggled a little bit. So we've just eased him into it. And now he's doing really good. A couple things I'll hold him accountable for is sometimes he'll want to down on top of my feet. Sometimes that's a little bit, I don't want you to leave me if you're going to put me in this down position and imply that I need to stay here, because I am insisting on some permanence, whether I am close or going far away. So I use the leash to just pop him out of that position and make sure he's just, off of my feet. So sometimes, Oakley, down. Sometimes he would circle away out of, I'm offended that I can't be on your feet, but he seems to have resolved that. Heel. Good job, buddy. This very good boy. Down. Good. Heel. So next step with the down is I want to work a little bit more on duration, having him hold it for longer periods of time, some distance, and apply that to other things like the sit and wait and going to his dog bed. So he goes to his dog bed well. He has a hard time staying there when there's commotion going on, so that's a big thing we're working through. And then of course when the doorbell rings, and so just proofing and generalizing a lot of his stuff. But he's a good little walking buddy. He enjoys it. He says, "Let's go, get our steps in." So he just is on a mission. He's ready to go. So he's been a good little pup. We've enjoyed him so far.